Hello, it's Lion here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we're going to be doing another First Impressions review. Today we're going to be looking at Harukana Recieve Volume 1 by Neo Jisai, published by 7 Seas. This is actually a Houchobuko series, I think. That's the magazine, something like that. You can look it up on Wikipedia. But it's interesting. I've never heard of this manga publisher from Japan before, but it's interesting that they are being published by 7 Seas. I'm curious to see if there's other series by this magazine, but I don't know any off the top of my head, right? So yeah, the demographic here is seinen, and the genre is sports, specifically beach volleyball. So it's kind of like Haikyuu, but it's with girls, and they're in Okinawa and they're playing beach volleyball. And it does have an adaptation as an anime. I don't know if it's any good. I haven't watched it. But I can't remember exactly why, but I saw this somewhere once and I wanted to pick it up and I never got around to it. And eventually I had a lot of coins on Bookwalker that I needed to spend because they kind of expire after a while. And so I picked this up and I got it for pretty cheap, which is great. But yeah, so the premise here is basically there's this girl that she's like super tall, at least for a Japanese person. She eventually meets a foreigner in this school, and they seem to be the same height. And the foreigner doesn't seem to be a particularly tall person. So I'm guessing that like the girl is uber tall for Japan, right? And this girl that's uber tall for Japan is called Haruka Osara, and she's moving to Okinawa. I don't remember from where, but she moves to this kind of more ocean-based kind of region, and she meets her cousin called Kanata Higa, and they end up playing beach volleyball with some people that Kanata knew, and Haruka kind of finds this enjoyable, and it also seems to fit in with her personal style because she's a very tall person, and they mention that being tall in volleyball is the most important thing ever. And so, of course, she happens to, find enjoyment in this. And also it's something that helps her kind of deal with her struggles about her height. Because, of course, if she's freakishly tall, people are going to be mean to her about it. And so she gets to experience this. She thinks it's fun. She says something offhandedly, makes the other girls angry. And so they end up challenging her to a beach volleyball duel, and so Haruka and Kanata have to practice because Haruka is new to volleyball, and well, they develop some skills, but not enough because they only practice for a week. Eventually, their duel happens upon them, and they have to deal with it. They actually manage to win the duel, but this causes a lot of emotional strife for the other players for reasons that are pretty interesting, but not necessarily like something I want to spoil, right? So what happens is a kind of reconciliation between some of these characters in some ways. And then we move on with the rest of the story, which includes Haruka showing up to school for the first day of class, meeting some girls that also play volleyball, and seemingly starting a volleyball club at some point, right? At least that's what I think is going to happen. And it's between Haruka, her cousin Kanata, and these two foreign girls who happen to be twins that are also volleyball players, right? So, yeah, overall, I thought it was really cute. It had a lot of kind of Yuri bait type things between all of the girls. Or at least that's how I perceived it, especially because it's a seinen. So it's aimed towards guys. So a lot of these things might be things that girls do actually, like with each other, but it is kind of visually, it looks like it's performative, right? Or it comes off that way in order to be kind of enticing for the audience that it's made for. I don't really have a problem with it, but I did notice that, and I did find it to be easy to see. And so I'm sure a lot of people that have read this have had issues with that. I didn't really care either way. I thought it was cute. Generally, it was pretty fun. And I really enjoyed the characters, the art style. It's kind of this old school art style, I guess you could call it, like from the early 2000s, which I guess is not really that old school, but It's from when I was a child, so it does kind of feel like it's a long time ago. And it's like basically very long torsos and kind of cutesy proportions for the characters, especially their faces. I really like that style. I think it's really fun. A lot of light novels that I like have this art style, especially the ones from the early 2000s. So I have no problem with it, but I can definitely see some people being like, you know what, this art style really isn't for me. And I'm sure some people would kind of compare this to Haikyuu because it kind of is in the same realm, but I think the stories are very different. This is more of a cute girls do cute things with elements of, harsh emotional beats. Whereas Haikyuu is mostly a very emotional, like, I am very interested in this and I want to do my best, and it's going to suck if I can't do that, right? So it's kind of in the same realm, but they're completely opposite kind of thematically, right? They're kind of very opposite to each other. But if you like volleyball manga, I don't see why you wouldn't want to check this out. I think it's a pretty good one. I don't really have too much experience with volleyball at all. My school did have a boys team, but I wasn't interested in it. And also, I mean, I wasn't really fit in high school anyways. I was on the soccer team, but that was more like we needed players because our school was so small, so I was allowed to be in it. At least that's how I remember it. I'm not really sure. I wasn't a particularly good soccer player, but I wasn't horrible. And so, yeah, my experience with volleyball is pretty minimal. I did go to some games a few times just to, represent for my friends, but I wasn't really interested in what was going on. I did read Haikyuu. I think Haikyuu is awesome. And so that kind of redoubled my interest in Harukana Recieve, but they are very vastly different. So if you like girls doing cute things and you happen to want that thing to be volleyball, you'll definitely enjoy this. Otherwise, I'm not necessarily sure it's going to be for you, but it's a pretty fun, kind of easygoing sports series, so definitely check it out. And yeah, there you go. That's really all there is to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Then thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.